Now we talk about making people physically better.
Yeah.
You said athletes going to become a lot faster, a lot stronger.
Yeah. So let's think of it this way. If you have lost your arm, you've got your arm amputated, and you have a prosthetic arm. Well, if you had to pick something up and you had it connected to your brain where it would rotate your hand and orient it and know how much force to pick something up, it would be an enormous amount of mental effort for you to simply pick something up, because you'd have to tell your hand how to twist, turn, orient, and pick it up. Instead, if you instrument the arm with AI software, it can reach out, and if it's a piece of paper, it orients the hand properly to pick it up. If it's a pencil,
but would it have the same power as the other hand? So would they? Let's say if you didn't, like I mentioned yesterday, like a deadlift, would one hand be weaker? Let's say if you, I don't know, you're trying to fix the imbalances.
The answer is that it would be as strong as the designer made it.
So, designer made it, okay,
right,
but
so
it's not going to come for your brain, innit? No.
Well,
because your nervous system sends all messages to your muscles,
right, and so the AI software will be connected up to your brain, such that if you make a certain brainwave, it knows to reach out a hand and pick something up, and it doesn't take much effort on your part. You just reach your hand out just like we do every day. If you think about all the intricate motions that are required to pick something up, it would be very tedious to have to come up with each one of those and tell the arm the instruction. So there's an example of improving human performance. You can cure deafness with a chip that you can implant in your ear in many cases. They're working on AI vision, and that means when you don't see well, if you've lost your vision, you can replace your eye with a chip and a camera, and it will take the visual images and it will turn them into the proper brain waves so that you can see again. And once they've got this perfected in the range of visible light, you certainly can extend it to infrared and ultraviolet, and then you can see the movie The Predator. You'll be seeing across all different frequencies.
The Predator.
So these sorts of things will help humans make them better, because it can cure some of our simple ailments. We talked yesterday about the thought experiment you can do where you can implant chips into your brain. So we already know that you can implant RF chips, radio frequency controlled chips, to stop tremors. So if you're going to have a seizure, you have this chip in there that will regulate your brain waves. And so as we improve this technology, we can replace different parts of our brain with chips that are AI based. And now what happens when you start living to be 120 years old and different parts of your brain have worn out? You've replaced them with chips. Finally the doctor says to you, Soufi, you've lived a long life, your prefrontal cortex is giving out. But we have a new technology now where you can download your memories and your love of your wife and your children into a chip, and we can replace your prefrontal cortex. And at that point, you said, I will want to go for that. And at that point, you have no organic brain left. You've replaced every part of it with a chip, yet you still love your wife and children, and you still have life.
Yes,
now, the question is, what are you at that point? And I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay.
But this is something that in 50 years we're going to have to figure out.
I'm trying to think. Would you still feel the emotions? I know you said you're still going to love your wife.
This is technology that is hypothetical, but it's very much within the realm of possibility. So we can't answer those questions right now, but my guess would be the answer would be yes, you still will feel emotions. And at that point, you'll be able to download your consciousness into a computer, and then you'll be able to essentially live forever at that point.
Live forever?
As a consciousness.
Okay.
You don't need a body anymore.
Wow.
So there's these sorts of things are questions that we're going to have to answer in the next 50 years probably.
Wow, still a long way to go, but we're getting closer.
It's going to be, it comes fast, so it's only a matter of time. So if I was a believer in alien technology,
that's a little bit too far for me now.
And to think about, if the aliens visit this planet, what if humans wanted to go populate the universe? What they would do is they would put some DNA in little microbots, and they would send them out into space in every different direction possible, because when life evolved on this planet, it terraformed our planet. We didn't have an oxygen atmosphere. Life brought that to the Earth. So it terraformed the planet and made it hospitable for Earth based on DNA. So if you send DNA to a planet and it can evolve into just a very simple life forms, over the course of millions of years, you can terraform a planet to make it habitable for life as we know it. So that's kind of an interesting outgrowth of AI and what you could do with some of the technologies that arise.
First thing that pops in my head when you say that is, it's gonna sound silly, Jurassic Park.
Yeah, so if there's DNA is incredibly complex, and it in one single chromosome you've got enough information to create life. So yes, will we be able to bring dinosaurs back? The answer is yes. They already have woolly mammoth that they're brought back.
Not even like machines wise.
Right, it's a living woolly mammoth. They were able to find its DNA and can replicate it.
Wow.
So they've also been able to store information on DNA. You can store a library of books as DNA. So
again, you
can store information on DNA. If you assemble the correct base pairs, you can make a library. So the collections of Charles Dickens can be stored as memory, like a memory chip. So it's a biological memory device now that we've created, where you can put whatever information you want on DNA and store it. So it's biological storage instead of solid state storage.
Wow.
So there's lots of exciting things in technology these days. So, should we be afraid of it? I think we should welcome it, but we also need to keep in mind the implications that this technology has for society.
Use it, just don't abuse it.
So it's going to free up humans potentially to do more artistic things and be creative, although AI can be creative itself already. We talked about it making music.
It makes us humans to up our game more.
Yeah, I think so. And if right now there's already an AI technology. You can take a picture of a mole and it will diagnose whether the mole is melanoma better than any doctor.
Oh yeah.
Because it's seen 100 million moles. It's been trained on millions and millions of pictures. No doctor has seen as many moles as the AI device has. So
is that still
it's available
at the moment?
At the moment. So we should be able to make AI software that can read MRIs and CAT scans and X-rays. And so if you're an MRI person who reads the MRI, you're probably going to be out of a job. But this is good for doctors who spend an average of like 8 minutes per patient because they're so busy. Instead of having the doctor spend his time reading the MRI, the AI software can do it for the doctor and free up more time to spend with the patients.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I would hope would happen, is that the AI can give you a first screening on the MRI, and then the doctor knows what to look for and very quickly can go through that with his patient. So it should free up more time for doctors to spend with their patients, or to take on more patients.
Yeah.
Make more money.
Now, since we're on that subject about the doctors, remember what we talked about yesterday? People, like especially doctors now, are they aware of what's going to happen?
So personalized medicine is on the horizon. It absolutely it's starting now, and it's going to be here in many different forms in the future. And when I say personalized medicine, I say I went and had my DNA tested by a company, and it tells me where my ancestors are from.
Yeah,
and I said,
I would love to get one of them as well. Yeah,
that's just a novelty in my opinion. I don't really care. I'm kind of interested in seeing what's in my DNA, my genetics. So you can download your raw data file and upload it at a company called Prometheus, and in 10 minutes...
Is that on a movie?
Prometheus. This company called Prometheus.
Okay, go on.
And you upload it there, and it will tell you everything that you could possibly... Well, there's still lots that we don't know, but it tells you more than you can look at information about your genetics. And I learned that I have a 5 times risk of suffering from cardiac myopathy, which is wasting away of the heart muscle, if I take a statin for cholesterol control. Turned out I was taking a statin, so I went to my doctor and said, hey, I need to take something different. And so that was an example of personalized medicine that works very well for me. I see other people who find out that they have this MTHFR, the motherfucker gene it's called, and you don't make folic acid. You don't eat folic acid. You don't methylate the B vitamins. So if you have the severe form of it, your life is about 10% worse. You're just more tired. You get sick more easily. And if you find out that you have this, well, then you just take some B vitamins and your life is much better. So, you can find out some really actionable information by getting your DNA tested. And sometimes you might find some bad news, like, oh, I've got a real high risk for breast cancer. Angelina Jolie found that out, and she had a double mastectomy because of the chances that she was going to get breast cancer. She had a gene for a very aggressive type of cancer.
So do you recommend everybody should have...
So it's personalized medicine, but now if someone's worried about privacy issues, we touched on privacy earlier. So what happens now if when you get your results back and I see my results, it turns out that I have a low risk for nicotine dependence. I'm not likely to be a smoker. Great. But then there's other ones that say I'm got high risk for being an alcoholic. Well, now if the insurance company gets that information and they start charging you more for that because you have a higher risk of becoming an alcoholic.
Right.
Is that legitimate? Is that a good use of information that you'd want maybe to be private? So that's a tough question to answer.
Yeah, well, it's a lot to think about. Wow.
It sure is, but that's why my role as an educator is to let people know about things so that they can make informed decisions. Many times in life I see people take an irrational stance on something because they don't understand how to do a risk assessment. A risk assessment is a probability of a bad action times the consequence of that action. So I see people who are horribly worried about drinking out of a plastic bottle because of bisphenol A, BPA in the plastic bottle. And at the same time, they've got a cigarette in their hand and they're eating a cheeseburger. The simple answer, if you want to live a long life, is don't worry about drinking water out of a plastic bottle. Quit smoking, don't get fat, use sunscreen, and wear your seatbelt. Those things are going to make you live a heck of a lot longer.
It's the little things
than drinking out of the.
It's the little things that
the little things
that matters the most.
The little things. If it's bisphenol A, don't worry about that. It's wear your seatbelt, wear a helmet on a motorcycle. Those things are what's going to make you live longer. So, don't worry about those small things. It's as humans, if they feel that they don't have a control over the risk in their life, they have zero tolerance for it. Yet, if they can control that risk, they're willing to take huge risks because they have control over it. Mm-hmm. So that's like wearing your seatbelt sort of thing. So, think about things in terms of what you should worry about, what you shouldn't. Exercise, get good night's sleep, don't smoke.
So exercise, good night's sleep, that will be the top.
Those are the things that are going to make you live longer. It's not going to be the fact that you drink out of a plastic water bottle.
Okay, I see what you're saying. People will take stuff literally. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And don't, you can make go for the low-hanging fruit. The low-hanging fruit is the things that will make big differences when you make those changes in your life. So get some exercise. That's a piece of low-hanging fruit. It will improve not just your physical well-being, but also your happiness, your mental well-being. It's important for that.